And this will be a fun class because there's all sorts of skill levels. We've got beginners through intermediate through advanced here. So this will be a fun class. This one is a good class to remember. We don't necessarily need to compare ourselves to anybody else. All we need to do is just listen to our body and just have a good experience for ourselves. So sometimes that means skip things and just stretch and relax instead. Sometimes that means, let yourself be in the inversion the full time that you want to. So make sure, especially in today's class with this awesome group we have, make sure that you're just listening to yourself and just having the most enjoyable hour possible. Just allow your body to have a good couple of breaths. And as we're getting started here, take a quick moment to connect with our intention for today, which is the idea of just getting morning stretches, morning opening, morning workout for our body. And imagine it's like everything we do, we're kind of gaining more and more energy in our body. It's like we're drinking our morning coffee, but instead of having to do the coffee, we're doing our morning, getting our morning energy through this class, through the community, through breathing, through being with our bodies. And so then the question is, what is it that I'd like to make sure to do with the energy that I have today? So kind of let that idea rest in the back of the mind. For some of us, that might be more of a relaxing day the rest of the day. Maybe we've been high energy all week long. For others of us, maybe this is our day where it's like, yes, finally I can catch up on my to-do list. So no pressure either way, no good, bad, right or wrong, but just kind of enjoy this class and imagine it's like energizing our body like that cup of coffee. And so with that idea to start us off today, let's begin some nice stretches for our body. Begin to let the arms go all the way to the back wall. And shoulders will begin to stretch to right. And shoulders to left. Take it a couple of times to each side. I love to stretch the side rib area first thing in the morning. It helps my breath go deeper. I can fill my lungs quite a bit more. Good. And from there, let's begin to take right knee into the chest. Give it a hug. A couple of good breaths. You can stay here or start to take right leg up to sky when you're ready. Enjoying a couple of breaths to help those huge muscle groups on the back side of the leg begin to join the party with us. Take another good inhale. And exhale, we'll hook this heel over to that back left side. With that hook, we're setting up for almost like a pigeon pose on our back. So I like to take my left arm around the shin to pull that shin in as close to the heart as the knee is okay still. Just allow some breaths to flow through our body. Just deep and relaxing. Take another huge inhale. Good exhale. Clear out the leg. I usually like to give it one more stretch up to sky and then drop it down. Second knee into the chest. Maybe some ankle rolls on that foot. Help the foot out. Good. Leg up to sky when you're ready. Love these first stretches of the morning, just helping everything out step by step. You're ready, hook the heel to the back right part, slide the shin in. Good, taking another huge inhale. With our exhale, we can start to free out the leg, maybe give it that last stretch. And when we drop this leg down, let's start to kick the feet off the front of the fabric. Grab on, sit up. Let's head to a nice inversion to get ourselves started. For me, this is like the best thing to do for the back first thing in the morning. So thumbs hook on that back end so that the fabric's about the back side of the pant line. Once you lean halfway back, it's kind of locked into place. You can grip back on. And then tilting back further, legs go wide. And then wrap the feet so that way you can release right now. If you want to be more active here, you can do crunches, kind of trying to touch the fingers to the toes. Crunch and touch. If you want to be more passive, you can just hang. All of it's up to you right now. Remember, like I mentioned earlier, it's up to you, not up to anybody else. So just be with your body, breathing, tuning in. One head up, grip first, and then one left. No rush. Those of you that are still upside down, just keep on enjoying it. Good, so we're pretty much out. If you're still resting here, getting your blood pressure to come back to normal, let's give that neck a couple of breaths, just kind of rolling the head to the left, rolling the head to the right. Good. Starting to sit all the way up. Let's take a little twist. We'll bunch up the fabric to the front door side. And the arm that's facing the mountains, that back wall, that arm opens up that back wall, or even circles around the back side of the head. First thing in the morning, a twist is one of the best things we can do for our spine. Super, super helpful. Good. Release. Let's begin to take that twist to the other direction. Good. Take another inhale. Nice exhale. Start to face inward toward me. So this half of the room, you stay on the same end. This farther back door in, grab it to the side that faces you toward me. So switch it out, you're facing toward me. Good. Lock your arms straight. The hip that just got lifted, swing that one up and over to come inside. Good. Once we're inside, take each heel all the way in. Our goal is to try to activate the core so the spine lifts up as tall as possible. Got our legs nice and wide leg forward fold, essentially. And then our hands, we grab our hands onto the outer fabric. What we're going to do is kind of have a little play between the strength of our legs versus the strength of our arms. So first, the legs are relaxed. The arms press the legs as wide as your flexibility will allow. With your exhale, you're going to use the strength of the legs to bring the legs to touch, but the arms are still resisting it. Good. Inhale, open back out wide, the legs are relaxed. Exhale, legs squeeze together, resisting the arms. And just go at the pace of your breath, exhales and inhales. Good, taking another 3. 2. And 1. Good. Once we're back open wide, the arms can relax. Slide the right hand down the right leg, left hand reaches up and over. Again, opening up those ribs. Imagine we're creating more space to breathe even deeper. Good, rising up. We'll stretch to the other direction, up and over. Everything to the left. Beautiful. Sitting up. We're going to start bending the knees so the heels slide a bit closer, but we do want the entire foot inside the fabric. So if you've got the toes peeking out, if you're kind of tall like me, go ahead and make it so at least the fabric is in the right spot. So you completely cover toes on one side, completely cover toes on the other side. Once you're there with heels close to the glutes, start to pop the knees outside the fabric. Good. When you're kind of there, grip onto the fabric in front of you nice and high. And then we'll come to a low squat. The knees pop all the way out. We're balancing on our toes. And this is kind of funky, so keep on playing with it. If it takes a minute, when you're pretty well here, grip up even higher and then come all the way up to stand inside the fabric. Good. We're all gonna face toward the mirror. So some of us, it'll be right shoulder, some of us left shoulder. But the shoulder right now that's closer to the mirror, that shoulder comes all the way behind and around. With this grip, we can start taking the splits. One leg forward, one leg backward. You have control of how deep you wanna go. Good. So take another huge inhale. A nice exhale. And squeeze in our thighs together. That brings us up through the center. The shoulder that moved returns. We're facing back where we started. Switch it out, facing toward back wall. The other shoulder goes around. And then splits. So that huge stretch. So have the back arm all the way around. There you go. That'll help you out. Good. Take maybe one more good inhale. Exhale. Squeeze our thighs together. Return back to start. What we're doing here is gripping one hand on each side of the fabric. And then we're gonna take the side split. So one leg goes to the front, one leg goes to the back. You use your arm strength to hold you in a spot that's still comfortable. Stay as long as you want for this stretch, maybe 3 or 4 good breaths. When you're ready to start lowering down, use the strength of your arms to help you go as slowly as possible. And when you're there, go ahead and take a little rest. Bottoms of feet touch together, like a cobbler's pose. You can either rest forehead forward or back of the head backward. And we'll let ourselves just have a couple of good breaths. Breathing is what energizes our body. Literally, our mitochondria needs oxygen in order to create ATP energy. So just take a few good deep breaths. Imagining it's like we're supercharging our mitochondria right now. Good. Maybe another huge inhale. Exhale. And we'll start to free the feet out of the fabric. Lunging the fabric that's in front of you up. We'll take the knee that's closer to the front side, the mirror. Take that knee up. You're hooking essentially the ankle or the shin area. This is a good hip opener. So we'll just enjoy this spot a couple breaths. If you need more, hug around the leg, lean forward. If this is kind of intense, you need less. Block the arms straight. That'll lessen that intensity. Arch of the foot into the fabric and let it straighten up as much as your hamstring allows. Okay, just a couple of breaths. Sorry, I need a cup of some water. Good, let that leg drop back down. Second side, we're taking the shin up. Eventually arch of the foot, and then let the leg, start to slide. Good. Let's take a huge inhale and exhale. Bring this leg to the mirror side so that way both legs are back together. Shift your hips around, facing forward. Once we're here, we're ready for vampire. So fabric that's behind you comes up just one thin layer, completely covering shoulders, like a cap sleeve. Once you've got that hooked, our elbows help to take all excess down to the waist. When you lay back, your head should be off the back end. Feet step into the other end, and we need to lift up our hips so that we can take all the excess to our feet. Some of us may be playing with just getting into vampire, so if that's you, just take the hands up, take the feet up, and press your way upside down. If you want more of a core challenge today, what you'll do is take the excess fabric like a blanket over your shins, so you have your feet inside that. So with that excess there, you do the same thing, hands grip up, feet come up, you press outward to rise. If you're playing with the core variation, what you'll do is start to play with toes balancing together. If that's pretty doable, what you'll do is start to go to a pike, so hips need to go behind you as toes go in front of you. You go all the way down until toes can't go any further. It's like stuck by the fabric. So once you're there, you can flatten out to a vampire, like you're flying over the earth. And then just slowly reverse that whole thing. Hips go slightly behind you, then pike your toes up to the sky. So you'll try to use your core slowly. Go slowly enough that you can be with control the whole time. Remember, you can just make this without inverting if you want. You don't have to do that core work. Our class is about half and half, so don't feel rushed out. Those of you that are still upside down, keep on enjoying it. Those of us that have been up for a while, it's a nice little shoulder stretch. So this will help us to give us something to do while the others are wrapping up their inversion time. So let's take our arms forward and through to the center. And then our right elbow is gonna wind under the left elbow. Gonna get the palms to wrap as much as possible. And then from that hooked position, start to relax the shoulders down as you lift the elbows up. The higher you lift the elbows with the shoulders relaxed, the more we bring it into that nice shoulder stretch. Good. Unwind, and then left elbow under. Same thing, shoulders down, elbows start to rise up. Good, taking a nice inhale. Exhale, release. Let's take our arms back to the outside, grabbing on the fabric. This will help us lift ourselves up and out. Good. Let's do a little bit of arm step. So I'll give you different variations. Option 1, when you circle your arms around, you wind twice. For option 1, the easiest, you're gonna grip closer to your shoulder, and then work on kind of hopping one leg up, and then hopping the other leg up. So that'll be the kind of the starting position. Option 2 gets you a bit higher. With this one, you have to come all the way up. You could do the same option 1 knee, and then the other knee. Option 3, both knees together. Option 4, try to hold in a piked position as you go all the way up. So both legs out. Okay, so choose your option. Exhales bring us up. If you're staying in the flexed arm hang, that's an option also. Try to keep on breathing, whatever we're doing. Good, if we're doing the hops, maybe do 1 more each leg. Good, take 1 more go at it if you're going. And when you're down, go ahead and unwind your hands. We're gonna take the fabric up to our shoulder blades. Leaning back for a moment. Let's walk our way up so that we've got our hips under plumb line, our knees are forward like we're in a chair. From there, relax the weight of the hips down. Let's start to take our legs about as wide as our feet can go. And from here, we'll all straighten our right leg. This should straighten us, shifting us toward back door. Toes can be up or down, whatever feels better. Good, switch sides. And switch sides 1 more time each side. And again. Good, back through the center, take the legs up kind of toward the corners of the mat, up at the top. Our grip, we're gripping up high. As we start to bring our shoulders in front of the fabric, we slowly lower our way down to the glutes. If it's hard to sit in this 90-degree pike, just grab a pike and just keep that grip, helping you sit up tall. If this is pretty easy, you'll circle the hands to clasp in front and continue to lean forward at a straight angle. A little bit of bend to the knees is okay. Good. Rising up. Each hand grabs on. Swing both knees to be underneath you. Once you're there, this is like an assisted king camel pose. So what we do is we start to lift the hips up as we take a huge back bend backwards. So you should be feeling a huge quad stretch. Elbows can be bent, pulling you higher, or they can be straight, dropping your head lower. It's really up to your flexibility. Good. When you're ready to drop the glutes down, you'll rise up and just take a nice child pose in front of you to help the spine get that reverse stretch. Nice inhale. Exhale. Torso up. Grab on the fabric. Use that grip to help us rise. Take a couple of nice leg stretches. So right leg in. Sliding hands up high. Let's take either the splits. Just transferring some weight forward, or if that's a little bit too much, just slide the hands closer so that the heart goes down to the thigh. Beautiful. Coming back over standing leg. We'll switch to second side. You can either step this foot out, step the other one in, or swinging switch is just stepping a leg in and then the other leg drops down. Whenever you get to the second side, same thing, whether we're sliding down, hard over the thigh, or taking that split. Good. If you just got here, take another breath or two. You're ready to head out. You'll take the ankle out. Heading toward our downward facing dog, fabric across the front of the hips. Make sure it's on bones, not guts. So then from here, tiptoe forward. The slack is out of the fabric, you bend at the waist, hands drop down, and then like 3 huge steps back into downward facing dog. So what we're gonna play with here is standing splits after we just stretch the hamstrings. We might be able to get a bit closer to it. Remember here, when you hook the fabric, your toes are not hooking on the inside, they're hooking on the outside. So I take my right leg out so that when I bend my knee, I catch my toes, I'm wrapping on the outside. So if you need to kind of lift the other foot up for a brief time to hook, that's okay. Good, once you've got the hook, you try to straighten right leg up to sky the highest it can. Keep the bottom toes on the ground. That's really the biggest leg that's getting a stretch. But the other foot can't stay, you're a little bit too far. If you're here pretty easily, and I see maybe one, maybe two of you are pretty decent here and you still want more, pop that bottom foot even closer to your body. If you still need more, walk your hands even closer in. Good. Nice inhale. Exhale, reverse every step. So if you pop closer, slide the foot further. The knee straighten up, bend it down, and then release. Second leg, kick wide before you catch. When you catch, make sure bottom foot's on the ground. Top leg can start to straighten up. Only if you still need more. Bottom foot pops closer to the body. Maybe hands walk closer. It's all up to you how far to take it. Maybe one more inhale. And exhale, start to reverse every step. Foot returns. Leg starts to drop out. If your hips, that little massage we're getting, still is okay, maybe you take some time with hip pain. There's several people up, so I'll give you some stretches if you're ready to be up, but those that want to be in the inversion chair a bit longer, take some time. So if you're up, you're leaning back. You're starting to lean back. We'll begin to bend our right knee. Then the elbows, the torso, and everything leans deep over to the right. Eventually straightening that leg, then the left knee, lean to the left. Good. Maybe one more time to each side. Looks like we're all pretty much up. Awesome efforts. If we feel like our head is okay, we're back to normal after being inverted. You'll start to walk back until you're standing up on your own. And let's take the fabric out in front of us. So I'm gonna build something up step by step. Some of us might be about the first step. Some of us might be able to take it all the way to the end. So it's up to you to know where my body wants to stop. So let's walk right up to the fabric. We're giving the fabric a big hug from the outside and wrapping around just once. For this one, if you're strong enough to do that full pull-up, you can grip higher, but honestly, I grip right about my shoulder height. So the first thing to practice here, and I'll kind of take my hands out and in to give my hands a little break each time, but the first step, when you grip in, just kind of let the one knee come up, just like we were practicing earlier. Hands take a little break, second knee comes up, we try to lift off the ground, just kind of practicing that. If that's okay, both knees come up and down, or even pike straight out. So we'll take a few of those, just keeping our core and our arms nice and warm. You can even hold for a little while if you want. Maybe 3 more, and then I'll show you another variation if anybody wants it to take it more. Awesome. So everybody can take a little break for a moment. If you want more, what we do from here, after we've done that little wrap around, we take, it's a flip essentially. So you take both knees up above you, you flip over backwards. Once you've flipped, you set yourself down onto the hips. So essentially we're in that hip hang format. You can kind of straighten out to Superman if you want, and then drop back down. Okay, so same hug. Flip, lower directly to hips, and sometimes this is just a practice to kind of get there. So if we're still here, that's fine. If we're on the flip, I kind of use the straightening of the arms to kind of get that last little bit through the flip. Good.
Sorry, I just expected it out. So.
Do you mean like where do I set it down?
Yeah.
So try to get it on the bones, just like you did for the hip thing that we were just doing. Yeah. Yeah. So if you set it down anywhere else, like especially guts, it doesn't really work. Yeah. Yeah, it's really uncomfortable. So yep, upside down. Keep yourself piked enough that you can get it down to the hips. Straighten out. And step. Yeah. Good. If you're still practicing, just take it with what you can do. Even just lifting a leg up and down, sometimes it's that first little bit of core to work. Good. Those that are doing flip is maybe 2 or 3 more. Kind of fun to play with, so I'll give you a little bit of time. Yep, that will work. So what the next thing to practice on then would be try to see if you can, instead of like rocking so much, try to see if you can get your momentum more just directly up and down. Okay. Yeah. I know, you're doing awesome. It's kind of fun though, right? Good. Anybody else want one more? Yeah, let's do one more. You got it. That's about the sign. That's about the sign. It's like, okay, that's about where I'm at. Or no longer can flip. Okay, so let's go ahead and take our shadow back inversion. So, and remember the variation. If this one's a little bit too much for your body right now, the variation you can take is just sitting inside the first inversion we did of the day. But if you're on the outside, take the fabric right across sacrum, so a little bit lower than before, right at the sacrum. I'll step 1 foot back, 1 foot forward, bend my knees, and then I tiptoe until I know my hips are under plumb line so I won't rock. Knees wide, wrap the feet, hands can release. Yep, awesome. Yep, sitting inside is absolutely a good variation. And those that are newer, I eventually get to different variations here, but those that know variations, you can play with them. It's fine. Ah, perfect. You're doing awesome. I love this. Totally not good work. Those that are still in, feel free to enjoy a little bit longer if you want, or head out at any point. Good. And we're going to give it just a couple more breaths of recovery. So especially if you just got out, feel free to take it for a moment. Just lean back. If you want a little shoulder stretch here, take your right arm across the left strand and pull it into the point where you get that shoulder in a good stretch. Sometimes I kind of have to like lean my right shoulder down. Just get that right shoulder into a good stretch. And when you're ready, switch it up to left shoulder. Good. As you release, if you need a little bit more recovery time, you let me know just by staying. If you feel like you're getting to a pretty good spot, you'll come up to stand. This last thing that I have for you, when you're ready, no rush to get there. This one is another one that has two variations. The first half of it's the easier, basic, beginner half, and then the second half is the more intermediate, advanced half. So you don't have to go the full way. Either way though, the way that we get into this one is similar to how we get in normally. We come up to the top end, we wave it out. But instead of taking about 5 grips, so we're in the middle, this time we just want to grip enough that when we sit on the front edge, we're only covering up to thighs. So it's like 2 grips with my size hands. So you sit in, you're covering up just to the thighs. Good. So you've got a lot of excess behind you. Take this excess over to your right side. And then you find the tube on that end, and you stick both heels into that tube. Good, so this is the first half. You just kind of take a nice forward fold over those 2 straight legs. Emily, do you see kind of what we're doing? That's okay, it's okay. So coming back up to get both of your front legs off the front, take the excess that's behind you, take it around to your right side, and then find that end, and then you're stepping both heels into that end. Yep, you got it. You're welcome. I was like, when I see multiple people confused, it's like, swing it around to the other side. Yep. And then just take your heels in. You have to take it all the way around far enough that you can get your feet into that. Yep, just like that. And that's why you step your feet into. Good. Okay. So if you want to just stay on this one, just this forward fold, this is the easy spot. If you want to go harder, what you do is step your left foot into the fabric that's under your thighs currently. The left foot in that spot under your thighs. Once you're there, we're going to take those steps that we did earlier to come up to stand. So first, the knees need to bend. We grip up high. We pop the knees out the front for the low squat. Gripping hands up even higher, we can come all the way to stand. So I like to have both my shoulders in front of the fabric and then do like a thumbs down grip over over each shoulder. Yeah. Good. So where we go from here, you're gonna face your hips toward your right foot and then start to take a forward split with that right foot. So essentially you're kind of trying to hide your right hip from the mirror. We're gripping up high, yeah. Good. Yeah, we got it. Okay, when you're ready to come out, squeeze in your thighs together. Your left foot is gonna be the dominant one here, so shake the right one free. Then you're stepping back into that normal center. And then you're lowering yourself down back to that just enough to cover the thigh sit. Good. And going to the second side, fabric around the left. Both feet in. Take a couple of breaths. You want to just stay, that's okay. This is a good stretch. If you want to go all the way, this time it would be the right foot that steps on the fabric that's under your thighs. Okay, same steps, bend to the knees, grip up high, pop the knees off the front, low squat. Grip up higher, come up to stand. Good, shoulders in front, thumbs down grip on each half. Good catch. Okay, facing toward left foot. Start to head to that split, so you're trying to hide the left hip from the mirror as much as possible. Good, maybe one more inhale. Exhale, squeeze in our thighs together. Your dominant foot is the right one, so shake the left foot free. And this time when we head back, we're ready for Shavasana. So get that fabric behind you, lower all the way back in a way that you're just immediately ready to rest. We'll be here for just a couple more minutes, just resting, letting our body receive this relaxation at the end. Like this is the time that it has to absorb all the benefits of our practice. And all that you have to do is just sit here and breathe. Just enjoy a few minutes right here. Here we're taking the next 2 minutes or so to slowly get back into our body. So oftentimes I'll just start off with a couple of good deep breaths. Introduce some movements back to fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Essentially stretching it out like we're waking up first thing in the morning. Maybe a couple of stretches, shoulders to right, shoulders to left. Sometimes a fetal position feels awesome. Body stays long. You roll over onto one side hip and curl the body in and arch the body back. I usually do 2 or 3 to one side. And I'll flip around 2 or 3 to the other side. You feel pretty balanced at that point. You'll rise up to the seated position, no rush. Sooner or later, with hands at our heart, we just tune into our body, to our energy, to our breath, and we feel how we're different now than we were an hour ago. New things are stretched, new things are open, new things are energized. So just imagine as you head to the rest of this awesome day, we have that question to help lead us on. What is it that I'd like to do with this awesome day that I have ahead of me? With that question to lead us forward, let's wrap up the time we shared together today with the sound of Om. Deep inhale now. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.